This is stupid. No, wait, let me start over. It is not just industry argument stupid. It is not one of those slick little debates where a man in a beige blazer stands in front of a curved LD screen and tells you the future is messy while he cashes a check for a future he will not even have to live in. It is aggressively stupid. It is staring at a fire alarm and deciding the real problem is the bell sounds a bit too traditional levels of logic. Listen, players have been screaming, literally screaming for years, that we do not want generative AI in the soup. We do not trust the people pushing it, we do not like what it signals, and we are tired of being treated like a data point in some executive's cost-saving wet dream. And Ubisoft looked at that mountain of feedback, looked at their cooling stock price, looked at the literal fires in their own hallway, and said double it. Hire harder. Get the robots in here now. We need more gears in the machine, and we do not care if they have a pulse. What do you call that? Vision, innovation, confidence. No. You call it corporate hearing loss with a LinkedIn account. You call it a company that has spent so long staring at spreadsheets that they have forgotten what a human thumb feels like on a controller. So, let us do the abridged version, because apparently, somebody in Paris needs the spark notes and a heavy dose of reality. Insider Gaming reported on April 20th, and no, it was not a late April Fool's joke, though the joke is on us, that Ubisoft is not just exploring AI anymore. They are putting it in the job descriptions directly. It is in the fine print. It is in the bold print. It is the only print left. One listing for a technical art director says the candidate should be proficient with, get this, Comfy, Midjourney, Nano Banana. Are we naming the tools after Mario Kart items now? Is the next one going to be Blueshell.a? We are using tools named after fruit to replace the people who actually know how to draw a hand that does not have 7 fingers. Cool. Great. But wait, look at the role. Technical art director. In a normal world, the world where people actually enjoyed looking at a map, the technical art director was the literal guardian of the game's soul. They were the bridge. The person who made sure the impossible imagination of the artists actually worked inside the cold, hard engine. Now, Ubisoft is telling them, hey, do not worry about art leadership. Just learn how to use the blender. Learn how to whisper into the server farm. Your job is not to inspire, it is to create crap. And then, God, this is the part that makes my teeth itch, the prompt specialist in Paris. A prompt specialist. Think about that. We have gone from writers who write and designers who design to a guy whose entire career is basically vibe manager for a GPU. His job is to whisper at a server farm and hope the machine does not cough up a legal nightmare, a dead-eyed asset, or some recycled sludge from a 2014 Reddit thread. Ubisoft says this role is about finding interesting and fun uses for AI in gameplay. Fun for gameplay, sure. Because when you are looking at a giant Ubisoft map, you know the ones, the maps that feel like a second job you did not apply for, the first thing you think is, man, I wish there was more machine-generated noise in the corners. I wish this 100-hour game had 400 more hours of dialogue, written by a math equation. Let us translate prompt specialist into human speech, because someone has to. This is not about making games deeper. It is about finding faster ways to spray scalable slop across a 100-mile map. More bark lines, more throwaway chatter, more tiny, meaningless interactions that literally no human being will remember 5 seconds after they happen. It is more dead air in a nicer outfit. That is the fear. Not smarter worlds, cheaper bloat. Your audience is already tired of paying for giant maps padded with junk, and now management is chasing a tool that promises infinite extra junk on demand and calling it innovation. And before the defense squad waddles in to say, oh, maybe this is just one weird listing, it is not a trend, stop. Just stop. Ubisoft has been telling us exactly where they want to go for months. PC Gamer reported late last year that Yves Guillemot, the quadruple A guy, remember that, compared AI to the shift to 3D graphics. I am sorry, what? That comparison is insane. The move to 3D gave us everything. New movement, new perspectives, new mechanics. It expanded the soul of the medium. Generative AI, in the way these giant publishers keep pitching it, it is a shift toward less authorship, less intention, less human labor, less care per asset. When Ubisoft compares this to the move to 3D, that is not visionary language. That is corporate gaslighting. It is trying to wrap a cheaper production fantasy in a heroic frame. It is like a restaurant firing the chef, installing a vending machine, and telling you it is a revolutionary culinary shift. Modern AAA future speak always sounds like it was written by a committee, designing a hospital brochure for a robot dentist. Dynamic interactions, personalized experiences, natural speech, enhanced immersion. It is all the same beige executive soup. No personality, no blood, no human confidence, just soft language, designed to make every downgrade sound like a modern necessity. And then, there is the magic word. Scalable, executive catnip. You know what scalable means in human? It means infinite but meaningless. It means the machine can keep producing, long after any sane person should have asked if more was actually worth having. Volume without value, size without memory. Publishers hear scalable and start smiling because they see a way to fill a map without paying for the talent. Players hear scalable and think, great, another warehouse full of content. Nobody cared enough to stop. The old pitch for games was simple. Make a good game, make the art memorable, make the mechanics tight. Give me something that feels like someone meant it. The new pitch is a lecture about systems nobody asked for and efficiencies nobody was worried about. It sounds like a committee apologizing while it steals your wallet. And when that pitch comes from Ubisoft management, it stops sounding like vision and starts sounding like spite. And the timing is the absolute chef's kiss on this disaster. January was a bloodbath for Ubisoft. Cancelled games, delays, massive operating losses, restructuring, which we all know is just corporate for people losing their jobs, so the line stays flat. So, this does not look like a company calmly pushing into an exciting new frontier, because the future is bright. It looks like management hacking away at the house, and then bragging about the new leaf blower they bought with the insurance money. The sequence is rotten. Cut the humans first, sell the miracle machine second. Because this is not innovation first, it is desperation first. It looks like financial damage control, wearing futuristic makeup. It looks like executives staring at losses and convincing themselves they have found a magic machine that can turn missing trust into scalable content. Look at the wider room, Ubisoft. The culture around game AI is already poisoned. Larry and the people who actually make games people love had to clarify they were not using AI for writing, because the audience was ready to riot. Paul Abis had to apologize for it. You are not stepping into some clean, neutral debate. You are walking into a bar fight where the floor is already wet and the chairs are flying. Your problem is not technology. It is goodwill. A beloved studio can whisper the phrase AI tool, and maybe people argue for a week. Ubisoft says it out loud, and half the room assumes the worst before the sentence even lands. You earned that reaction. Years of overreach, bloat, trend chasing, and management theater have trained us to read every new promise like a threat. When trust is dead, every press release sounds like a ransom note written by a consultant. Normal players are not scared because software exists. They are scared because executives love anything that sounds faster, cheaper, and scalable. That is the real translation layer. When Ubisoft says immersion, players hear cost cutting. When they say dynamic interaction, players hear filler. When they say future, players hear coupon. They hear that management found another machine it hopes can lower labor costs, speed up content churn, and turn giant maps into even bigger buffets of disposable sludge. That is why this story hits so hard. It combines three things people already distrust: Ubisoft, generative AI, and hiring language that makes the direction feel real and immediate, instead of a hypothetical experiment. That combination is radioactive. You can already see the footage in your head. Big shiny world dust, drones, explosions. Some soldier stomping through a field, while an executive voice talks about immersion. Then hard cut to prompt specialist, cancelled games, losses. That contrast is the whole rant. Spectacle on top, rot underneath. So, here is the answer to the question at the start. Are they trying to make better games, or are they building a smoother excuse for cheaper executive logic? Based on the timing, the language, the strategy, and Ubisoft's own record, we have every reason to suspect it is the second one. Maybe that sounds harsh. Fine, Ubisoft earned harsh. The real damage here is the trust. Once that breaks, every future promise sounds like a man selling fireworks in a drought and calling it community engagement. The industry does not correct the mistake anymore. It just renames the mistake, gives it a cleaner font, and asks you to clap anyway. So, what do you want? Would you take a 10-hour game where every stone was placed by a person who gave a damn? Or a 100-hour scalable experience where the machine did the work and the prompt specialist just checked the server logs? Because Ubisoft is betting you will take the slop. And as long as we keep buying the quadruple A lies, they will never stop scaling.